Change how you work today. Change how you work today. Change how you work today. Microsoft Teams shows you the way.
Thanks for tuning in for another video. I'm Kermit the Frog coming from Sulphur Springs, Texas. Obviously, that's just a sad joke. The idea behind a master team. I do think that the master team concept, though, has a nice piece to it because it does give you kind of a safe environment to do your work and to know that you have access to that team throughout all the years. So basically, we have two kinds of master teams. And please understand that a master team is no different than any other team. It's just how we're thinking about our approach to it. So if I created a personal master team, that's what I'm referring to as one that just you're the only one in that team. You have no co-teachers, no other teachers that you work with throughout the day. A shared master team right here would be the idea behind you sharing that with a co-teacher. You have some other adult teacher in your building or staff member, maybe it's even a principal that's in that team with you, and so you're going to work on that collaboratively. So let's go ahead and start looking at our teams. Now down here you notice I have three teams. I have my John's class for videos, which is what we made yesterday, and this is what I'm going to refer to as my master team throughout this video. And then here I have my first period and my second period classes. Again, that can be different things. Inside of my master team, I would want to get all my files organized, and you're going to want to get your notebook organized, and you're going to want to get your tabs organized. Now, one quick thing that you're going to want to do within your notebook is you're going to want to make sure you enable the teacher only section. So I'm going to start in there, and we'll just talk about some ideas of how you might set up the master notebook and the contents in it. But remember too that throughout the year, you're going to change your workflow. Inevitably, you're going to find things that work and don't work. And you can always build out of this master team. You can build things the way you want to so that next year when you're ready to go with it, you've already got what you need in kind of the format and the structure that you need. So don't feel like you have to do all of this up front, but you do want to do some planning and some thinking ahead of time. If I want to go ahead and get the class notebook teacher only section that you see right here, you click on the class notebook option at the top and then manage notebooks. And then right here you'll have a button that'll say enable or add the teacher only section to this. And then once it says enabled, you know you're good to go. Here's where you can also then add in new sections for your student areas if you wanted to. Again, this isn't going to be a OneNote overview, but I do want to give you some ideas and some things that might help you within this OneNote. Understand that your OneNote notebook, when you create a new team, when you copy this team and use it as a template for other teams, you're not going to get the content from this notebook. It's not going to automatically transfer over. But once you have that content set up in here, however you decide you want to put it, you are going to have the option then using the OneNote feature set to be able to send pieces of the content library out, because I can copy the content library out to other places. I can go into OneNote 2016 and right-click copy and right-click paste into my other notebooks and things like that. But again, this will be a notebook then that you're going to start with and you're going to work with all the time and make the changes that you need. And then from year to year, you'll strategically decide what you're going to share out through the class notebook add-in for all the other pieces of your team. Again, I can't go into all those details today, or it would take us a lot longer than I want to try to do in around a 5-minute video. Now, I just set up a couple ideas. You know, my teacher only space, I may only want to have quizzes in Unit 2 and tests and things like that. I might build my units into the content library because I know that eventually I'm going to just shoot this out at the start of the year to everybody. Or maybe at the start of the year, I'm only going to shoot out into all my new classes the start of the year paperwork tab. And then once I do that, that tab and all the pages will go with it. Again, how you organize that is going to be up to you, but this is just a reminder that that strategic way that you would set up your class notebook and even have a master notebook in the past, you're now just doing that through teams and through what we're calling this master team. But remember that all the content from this notebook right here, when you create a new team, like I'll show you in a minute, it's not going to copy that. You're going to have to start that notebook all over from scratch, and then you'll go in here and you'll copy content or move content based on the ways you can do that in OneNote to all those other notebooks. Now, if we go up here to files, just to show you another thing, another place where you can kind of save these things, you might have folders that you want to share with all of those teams. Same thing, your file folders will not transfer from one team to the next when you create the new team using this as a template. But you can always click on this, say open in SharePoint, and then move that whole folder one by one into what you're trying to do, or you can select multiple folders and move those in. So you know at the start of the year, you're ready to send Unit 1's folder to all your teams because you're going to do a PowerPoint project and you want to have these templates already there for all your students. And so you've got group 1, group 2, group 3. Now you tell your students on day 1 of that big project, hey, you guys are group 1, you're group 2. They go in here, they already have a file. It's already shared with all of them and everything else. And we'll talk more about communication and collaboration on Saturday. But just another idea and another way for you to be thinking about these file folders, and understand that they're not going to copy over. So that's not what you're getting, but you're building them here. Then when you're ready, you'll make copies of those things in those other class teams the way you want them to look. Now, your conversations won't copy over and your assignments won't copy over. I do want to just talk about assignments real quick. Remember, we're going to get into that on Friday, and then all next week we're going to look at assignments. But if I create a new assignment here, I have the option to assign to multiple classes. So I can assign it to this class, but I can also assign it to my first period, my second period, my third period, and everything else. And now from this master class, I've created that assignment and it's gone to all of the other ones. When I'm ready to grade, I'm not going to grade in this master team because I don't have any students in here. I'm going to go over here to first period, and I already assigned that assignment to them. Then I'm going to be able to click on assignments, and I'm going to go through here and review that assignment. Again, I didn't actually send that one, but you get the concept. And I review everything for first period in first period. Then I go into second period and I review all that work within that. Now, you might decide you want all of your kids into one big class. I don't prefer that method, but it's always an option. Then you'd only have one team to go into that you're going to grade everything. But again, that's kind of the concept of why you're going to benefit from this master team, because you can assign things out multiple times. Then later, when you're ready to make those copies of the templates, you're going to have all your settings, all of your channels, and essentially the main structure there of that team that you're going to make a copy. So then once I'm ready to make copies of this master team and call them first period, second period, third period, and everything else, I just go to join or create a team. I say create a team. I click on my classes. And then I'm going to go ahead and say create a team using this existing team as a template. And then I would just select the one that I'm going to use. And I would say choose that team. And then it's going to say, all right, we're going to copy over your channels, your settings, and your apps. But your tabs, you're going to have to do that yourself. And it's going to say messages and files and content won't be copied over. But that's okay, because we've got those folder structures set up already, and we can then move an entire folder or folders over to the other teams later, but we've already got all of our stuff built in the format and the structure that we want within a team that can then be replicated later. But it is still going to have some manual work on that stuff as you go year to year. But you're going to change things up too, and sometimes you're not going to want everything to go out at the beginning, so that's going to be okay when you start doing that next year. I'm not going to create another team right now because I already have the two that I needed. But you've seen now how you can essentially assign an assignment from that master team out to all of your other classes. You've seen how you can start setting up your notebook and start thinking about the process of what you're going to do. When I'm ready then, and I've made these other teams here, so this one was now created again from that template, I click on my class notebook, I said set up class notebook, it's a blank slate. But I go into OneNote then, and I make those copies and shoot those pages and tabs over from within that OneNote space. And again, it's still quicker and easier because this thing is always clean. This is the one that always has the content the way I want it. In my classroom teams, if I mess up something, I don't really care because I'm not going to have to worry about that later. So anyway, that's a quick overview of the benefits of what you could do with a team or with a master team, and how that might help you in the future, how that might help you as you're building things throughout the year. I hope the concept makes sense to you. Remember, you don't have to do this. This is not one of those things that's a requirement. It's just one of those things that I think is good practice, and I think it gives you that stability and that freedom to kind of have a safe space to be working within what you're trying to do. I'd love to hear your feedback. I'd love to know how you're using a master team if you're using it. Make sure you communicate with us. There's a form in the description of this video that you can fill out. Also, if you want us to go more in depth in the future into different topics, we will be covering channels and tabs tomorrow. That video should be much shorter. Then we're going to get into assignments on Friday. And on Saturday, we're going to talk about the different ways we can collaborate and communicate quickly and easily. All these videos should really start getting down to 5 minutes or less. And then next week, each day, we're going to look at a different assignment type and how you can build those out, and just making sure that you're thinking about the settings and what might happen as you're working on those different assignments and the questions that are often going to come up. So I hope it all comes in handy. Let us know what you think. Thanks again for watching.
Is the place to